Let us pray to Shri Radha Govindji for their blessings and mercy, and also pray to Shri NND Prabhuji, that temple president is ISKCON of Mangalore, and for his blessing, and also our thankfulness and gratitude for giving us this platform to discuss Bhagavad Gita. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, devotees, for joining today's class. We shall continue with new chapter, that is Dhyan Yoga. So, Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। Om Namo Vishnupadaya Krishnapeshtaye Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedant Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Desha Tarini Jayo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda He Krishna Karna Sindhu Deen Bandhu Jagatpate गोपेश गोपिका कांता श्री राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम रामा हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम रामा हरे हरे. So welcome once again to this new chapter of Dhyan Yoga. So, after Nishkam Karma Yoga, Krishna.
Prabhuji, after chapter 5 means chapter 6 we are starting.
Yes, Mataji. This is
chapter 6 name here, what I have Bhagavad Gita of Prabhupada, it's given Sankhya Yoga, means it's something like some other name is here.
Yes, Mataji. Not really, it may be an old edition, but it is Dhyan Yoga. In fact, in Dhyan Yoga or in Sankhya Yoga, there is a clear analytical study of body and body, material body and spirit soul. So the Dhyan Yoga is basically the Sankhya Yoga is basically analytical study of material body and the spirit soul. So don't be confused. It might be an older edition of Bhagavad Gita as it is by Srila Prabhupada, but it is the same thing which we are talking here.
Okay.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So, in chapter 5, we heard about Nishkam Karma Yoga, which was easier than renouncing the birth. We just now discussed. And in second section, it was how to perform Nishkam Karma Yoga. Nishkam Karma Yoga means giving up the results or benefits of our activities and offering it to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. And platform of knowledge, knowing the three doers. We heard about three doers: the jiva, the super soul, and the material nature. And Ahankar Vimuratma Karta Hamit Mandite. But living entity considers itself the doer because of false ego. And liberation by focus on the super soul. And not only liberation, liberation happens after purification when one does Nishkam Karma, purification of heart is happening. Then liberation through Ashtanga Yoga. Last two verses, 27, 28 only, he talked about Ashtanga Yoga, the 8 limbs, which we have already studied at level 1 and also earlier also in this chapter. And finally, the peace at the platform of liberation, how the peace formula Lord Krishna gave. Now, in this chapter, we after Nishkam Karma Yoga, how we can proceed further. Nishkam in the ladder of liberation by performing this Ashtanga Yoga. So this is the subject matter of this chapter, basically advancing yoga through the detached for Nishkam Karma Yoga. How can we advance ourselves in this? Now, section 2 says Yoga Ruddhi stage, giving up the work. And there are 2 stages: Yoga Ruruksha state, which is for neophytes or beginning in the Ashtanga, and one gets perfection in Ashtanga Yoga. That stage is called Yoga Ruddha stage, or giving up the work is given up. But in Yoga Ruruksha stage, which is the first stage, the activities are performed. Nishkam Karma Yoga is performed. It is not the stoppage of activities. Then further stages in the practice of yoga, we know 8 limbs of Ashtanga Yoga are there. So necessity to controlling the turbulent mind. Krishna in next chapter says, my mind is very turbulent and powerful and very difficult to control. He says that even it is easier to control the wind, movement of wind, but I cannot control the mind. So Krishna here is mentioning the necessity of controlling the mind before one adopts to Ashtanga Yoga. In fact, Nishkam Karma Yoga brings about purity of heart and induces devotional service in the mind of a devotee, whereas this Ashtanga Yoga controls the not only mind but senses as well as the body needs. And destination of this unsuccessful yogi, what happens if a person does not succeed in attaining the yoga rudh stage or final stage of samadhi, or dharana, dhyan and samadhi, those are the final stages. What happens to such a person who does not attain samadhi and fails? And this is a very difficult task. All of us know that in Kali Yuga it is very difficult to control mind and do Ashtanga yoga or meditation is even very difficult. And who is the topmost yogi? In the last two verses, Lord says the bhakti yoga, the person practicing bhakti yoga or devotional service is the topmost yogi. So this is just a summary. Advancing in, so up to chapter 5 it was Nishkam Karma Yoga. Now how one can further advance in yoga by in Nishkam Yoga, and that is in the Ashtanga Yoga. The next stage is Ashtanga Yoga. Now this is a gradual ladder, but Bhakti Yoga is a direct connection, and whereas these steps are very, very difficult, from Karma Kand to Nishkam Karma, then the attaining transcendental knowledge, and then doing action in Krishna consciousness, and then ultimately Dhyan Yoga. There are so many steps involved here, but Bhakti Yoga is a shortcut direct access to Lord Krishna, devotional service. Ashtanga yogis like Nishkam Karma yogis engage in detached work to advance. Both of them have similar thing to do, that is they detach themselves from this picture we have seen, the three doers, and Jiva desires, super soul permits, that is Supreme Personality of Godhead, and three modes of material nature make it happen, or the actions. So one who purifies his vision and activity by Nishkam Karma Yoga. I just now mentioned that purpose of Nishkam Karma Yoga is to purify your heart, to purify the senses, so that I am not the doer. It is the Lord Krishna who is the doer, and even the result also, he is the enjoyer of the results of benefits. So by doing this Ashtanga Yoga method, by practicing meditation, one can attain the liberation or the next stage. By meditating on the super soul, one can develop devotion to him in Bhakti Yoga, understanding that Krishna is the supreme enjoyer, ultimate controller, and the best friend. So this is the outcome of doing Nishkam Karma Yoga 3. There is a knowledge, transcendent knowledge, that Krishna is supreme enjoyer, he is the ultimate controller and the best friend. Now, connection between chapter 5 and 6, you can see knowledge increases, not only the body gets detached, that there is Jnana Yoga, and after Jnana Yoga, consciousnness, that is material, instead of material consciousness, spiritual consciousness arises, and that person realizes that he is the super soul of Paramatma, form of Lord Krishna is residing in his heart and is directing, and he is not an individual entity, but an eternal servant of super soul or Sri Krishna. So this is how this ladder is going on. Before practicing advanced stage of Ashtanga Yoga, one must be purified by practice of Nishkam Karma Yoga. We have already mentioned that heart, senses, and mind have to be purified before one through Nishkam Karma Yoga. When a person reaches the stage of purification, then only he can do this Ashtanga Yoga. Otherwise, his mind will always dwell on material objects and will look for sense gratification, and is most likely to fall down if the heart is not purified, because the desires in the mind will persist, and desires are our cause of fall down in case we are pursuing Ashtanga Yoga, and I mean advancing from Nishkam Karma Yoga to Ashtanga Yoga. So in first two verses, now there is a matter here. What is the difference between a sannyasi and a yogi? Can anybody elaborate what is the difference between sannyasi and yogi? What does sannyasi or renunciate does, and what does a yogi does? The discussion we have so far. What does a sannyasi or renunciate does? Any idea? Anything, whatever you want to say, right or wrong, doesn't matter.
Sannyas.
Sannyasi is
Yeah.
giving up the material activities.
Mhm.
Sannyasi.
Sannyasi gives up-
Discipline and sannyas, discipline and also imparting the knowledge to the to others.
Basically, sannyasi and yogis are same, basically, because there is a slightly advanced, yogi is a different, slightly advanced stage. Sannyasi means that he has given up all kind of activities and he is doing only meditation for purification of his heart and soul, right? And whereas in yogi, he is a further advanced in a further advanced stage, and he is performing devotional service. He has not only controlled his mind and body, but also he has controlled the sense gratification stage. So basically, both are same. Karma yogi denounces the results of his action, whereas he is also called a sannyasi. When mind does not of his such a sannyasi, if his mind does not dwell on sense gratification or sense objects, then he becomes an yogi. Because he has a perfect control. He doesn't want to enjoy the sense objects at all. So basically, they are same, and they have attained this stage through jnana only. And so we come to verse number 1, Sri Bhagwan Vacha. Anybody would like to read it?
Yes, Prabhuji, may I?
Yeah, please continue. Then Richa Jain Mataji, second.
Okay.
Yes.
May I, Prabhuji?
Chanda Mataji, then Richa Mataji.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Shri Bhagavanuvacha Anashritah karma phalam karyam karma karoti yah sa sannyasi cha yogi cha na nir cha na cha cha na nir cha na rang cha na nir angira na
Nirangir
chakaryah.
Nirangir na Chakriya.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, one who is unattached to the fruit of his work and who work as he obligated is in the renounced order of life, and he is the true mystic, not he who lights no fire and performs no duty. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So the renounced order of life, and he is true mystic, not he who lights no fire. That means he lights no fire means he does not perform any sacrifice or sacrificial activities or yajna, and performs no duty. No duty means that he does not care even for maintenance of his body. So Supreme Personality Godhead said, one who is unattached to the fruit of his work and who works as is obligated is in the renounced. Obligated works means one who performs his prescribed duties. He is a he is a yogi, right? And not the one who does not perform the sacrifice. That means even the yogi has to perform sacrifices and is to take minimum care of his body needs only. Then if a person is not doing a sacrifice and not caring for his minimal maintenance of his body or the basic requirements, then he is not an yogi. So anashritra karm phalam karyam karma karoti cha yah sa sannyasi cha yogi na cha niragnir na chakriya. So the yogi is person, karma yogi is a person who has through the knowledge of jnana or through knowledge or jnana, he has renounced the results of his actions, and also he has stopped the thirst for enjoying the sense objects or sense gratification. The 8-4, yes, Mataji, read please.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Chanda Mataji, please continue.
The eightfold of yoga system, emphasizing on the control of the mind and the senses, very difficult, especially in the age of Kali. The Lord emphasizes on Karma Yoga, Krishna consciousness, better as all living entities are constitutionally parts and parcel of the Supreme. Should work with the Lord always in mind in absolute surrenderance. Must work in Krishna consciousness as through we are obligated to him. The parts of the body work for the satisfaction of the whole body. Hare Krishna.
So in the age of Kali, in the Kali Yuga, this eightfold yoga system or Ashtanga yoga is very difficult. Why it is very difficult to practice? Yes.
Because Prabhuji, Ashtanga Yoga is starts with the Yam and Niyam, which is
Yeah.
very much difficult
Because
for a person to follow, because our senses are very much outer side, desire world. So on and off it goes. Sometimes we control and sometimes it goes off only. So we are taken away by the desire. So it is very much difficult to inculcate in our soul, in our life. So this is what that Ashtanga Yoga. It's very difficult, and
The disciplines, thank you, Mataji.
Prabhuji,
The disciplines, the 8 limbs of Ashtanga Yoga, Yam, Niyam, Asana, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyan, and Samadhi. They each discipline to follow strictly and attain success in that step and then proceed to next step is very, very difficult because mind is very turbulent. Mind is very powerful. It is very difficult to control. Now, when mind is difficult to control, the senses cannot be controlled easily. Because we have got so many urges, you know, in the nectar of instruction, it is mentioned, Vacho Begam, Mansa Krodh Begam, Uduro Past Begam, Jiva Begam, all these 6 types of urges are so strong that it is very difficult to control them. So, what is the best practice of what is the best practice in Kali Yuga? That is
Harinam Sankirtan.
Harinam Sankirtana or
Hari
action in
Naam Eva
Krishna.
Kevalam.
Harinam Kevla. Hare Krishna, action in Krishna consciousness or devotional service to Lord Krishna is the simplest. Because in this, why it is considered Bhakti Yoga the best, highest in the Kali Yuga? What are the reasons? One by one. Each one may tell one reason. Why Bhakti Yoga is easiest in this Kali Yuga and recommended?
Because of
Bhakti-
short duration of life
Yes.
in Kali Yuga, so Harinam Sankirtan is preferred.
Yes.
Um,
One is
and
short period life. Yes.
Yes.
Second
And
thing.
Bhakti Yoga is such the Kirtanam. If I'm not desiring, or if my mind or my heart is not willing to, do also, if Sangata means the Sankirtana, and the Mandali, if I'm just sitting there also for 2 to 3 days, the interest come in and I am into the service of Lord. It comes naturally. If not like in Ashtanga Yoga, I have to work very hard. I have to bring the discipline one by one after one, and that is also that 8 limbs are connected to each other. If I break, then again I have to start it again. So again I have to work hard. Whereas in Bhakti Yoga, doing Sankirtana without interest also, I landed with the interest by doing bhakti and carry on forward, and ultimately I'll be in the consciousness of Krishna.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to add to what Mataji have said? Srila Mataji, Swayam Prabha Mataji, Siraja Paudel.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, as already Lord Krishna has said that in Kali Yuga, the only way of getting moksha is salvation is the way of name chanting. And when we do bhakti, it's a process in the bhakti as a Navadha bhakti that first you will hear and second you will chant. Then it's in a Kali Yuga, it's a very
Thank you.
and
So
the name of the
it is
Lord.
recommended in Kali Yuga because it is very easy and simple. There are not many rules and regulation. Even a child can do. There is not many disciplines as compared to the Karma Kanda, Nishkam Karma Yoga, as well as the Stang Yoga, which has got very strict disciplines or rules and regulations to be followed. Secondly, in this life, in this one life, we can achieve perfection of life, even in this short period of life, as you mentioned, that this life we can achieve the perfection of life. Secondly, there is direct linking with Krishna. When we do devotional service, we are directly linked to Krishna. There is no much discipline involved. Only the principles of this devotional service have to be followed. And also, it is susukham kartum avyayam. It gives eternal bliss, and avyayam means that it is eternal, it is everlasting. Even whatever devotional service one has performed in this life, it is carried forward to next form of life. So Raj Vidya Raj Guhyam Pavitram Idam Uttamam Pratyakshavagamam Dharmyam Susukham Kartum Avyayam. It gives eternal bliss and no other. Now there is no bliss in Ashtanga Yoga. One is meditating. He has renounced everything, no activity. He is concentrating on meditating only. Whereas in Bhakti Yoga, there are so many activities. You are preparing prasadam, you are singing glories of Lord, you are hearing Lord's name and pastimes, and you are dancing, and you are in ecstasy and bhava bhakti stage you reach. You are, there is the anartha nibrati, you the six enemies, enemies, six enemies, they get out of us. So there is lot of pleasure and bliss in, whereas in Ashtanga Yoga, there is no pleasure and bliss. There is no, it is totally imperfect. Whereas in Bhakti Yoga, it is the topmost yoga because you can, one can achieve perfection of life or achieve Krishna or get linked with, united with Krishna. Yoga means union with Krishna, can be achieved in this one single life only. So, and a bhakti yogi always does everything for Krishna. He does not do for his own sense gratification, considering himself to the servant, as I said, also part and parcel of the Lord Krishna. So whatever he does, he considers it as a, yes, Chandra Mataji, this
Yes, Prabhu.
text also.
The living entity working to satisfy the Supreme and not self is the perfect sannyasi or yogi. Sannyasis, presuming they are liberated from all material duties and stopping
Agnihotra.
Agnihotra yagyas, that is fire sacrifices, are imperfect. Their desire to become one with the impersonal Brahman is greater than any material desire. Mystic yogi, also performing yoga with half open eyes, stopping all material activities, is also an imperfect yogi.
Lord Krishna has said that even for a renunciate, the penance and sacrifice must be performed by him for continued purification of his heart and mind and senses also. So what does a sannyasi does? He stops the fire. Just now in the earlier verse we read, he stops fire sacrifice. Then when this is the demigod said, Lord Krishna is not pleased, and then the sadhana becomes, so sannyas becomes imperfect. And the desire to become one with the impersonal Brahma is greater than any. A sannyasi wants, what does he want? He wants to merge into the Brahman effulgence. And this kind of realization of God is also imperfect because it is an imperfect or the initial state of God realization. There are three stages of God realization. I think you will remember. First is merging into the Brahman effulgence. Second is Paramatma realization. And third is the stage of God realization or Bhagwan form of realization. So these yogis or the sannyasis, they are renouncing activities which are essentially to be performed, but they renounce them. So they are but there is no perfection in life. Their entire exercise is imperfect. So which is considered to be higher than the material desires. Yes, Richa Jain Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Both the sannyasi and the mystic yogi are self-interested. A Krishna conscious person works for the satisfaction of the whole without self-interest. He is a true sannyasi or perfect yogi. The highly renounced Lord Chaitanya prays in this way. Na dhanam, na janam, na sundaram, kavitam va jagad isa kamaye, mama janami janmanisvare, bhavatad bhaktir ahaituki twai. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor to enjoy beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. What I want only is the causeless mercy of your devotional service in my life, birth after birth.
Thank you, Mataji. So, Krishna, now, what kind of mukti is called that which a person who wants to merge into the Brahman effulgence? What kind of mukti is called, or liberation is called that? There are 5 kinds of liberation. We have read it earlier also. 5 types of liberation of mukti.
Salukya, Samipya,
Salok,
then
Samipya, yes, Mataji. Sarupya, Sarishthya, and Samipya. Samipya, Salokya, Sarishti, Sarishti.
Sarupya.
And so same features, same opulences, same loka, same
Sarishti.
and Sarishti is same opulences. So these 6 times. Then and there is Sayujya Mukti. So the person wants to merge into that. Even the demons, and who were killed by Lord Krishna in his childhood days, they also got Sayujya Mukti, because even the Kauravas, or the opposite army, they got Sayujya Mukti because they had direct vision of Krishna. So Sayuj Mukti, is there any pleasure or bliss in Sayuj Mukti? There is nothing. There is no devotional service. There is no chanting. There is no bhakti to Lord Krishna. So here Lord Chaitanya prays that, oh, I no desire to, I don't want any wealth, no beautiful women, any number of, I don't want any followers. Is the causeless mercy of your devotional service in life, birth after birth. A pure devotee does not want any kind of limitation. So that is the highest form of worship. Yes, Richa Chen Mataji.
Yam sanyasamiti prahu yorgam tam vidhi pandava na hi asanyasta sankalpo yogi bhavati kaschana. What is called renunciation? You should know to be the same as yoga, or linking oneself with the Supreme. O son of Pandu, for one can never become a yogi unless he renounces the desire for sense gratification.
Thank you, Mataji. So there is 2 things, sir. Firstly, yoga means linking with the God, direct connection with God, direct union with God. So that is the real meaning of yoga. In mathematics also, we know yoga means sum. When we add one figure with other figure, then that becomes sum. That is yoga. So yoga is union with God, basically. And what should a yogi do? He should renounce the desire for sense gratification, but he should continue to act or perform prescribed duties in a Nishkam Karma Yoga manner. Whereas a sannyasi, he renounces all activities. He just does the meditation and follows the discipline of renunciate order. Yes, Mataji.
Yam sannyasam iti prahur yogam tam vidhi pandava na hi asanyasta sankalpo yogi bhavati kaschana.
Yeah. this one to do. So
Who see to the renunciation of
please continue.
sense. Bhakti Yoga, to become attached to Krishna and work for him, thus controlling the mind and senses. Ashtanga Yoga, to give up attachment to the fruits of work, control the senses, focus the mind within.
So this is a striking difference between two things. Bhakti Yoga, all activities are performed for the pleasure of Krishna, for his without any desire for sense gratification or availing the. But there is when we do devotional service, the mind and senses are automatically controlled and withdrawn from outside, and they are used in the services of Lord Krishna only. Whereas in Ashtanga Yogi, what does he do? He has no connection with God. He has no service orientation towards Lord Krishna. He does just give up, controls his mind, senses, and body, and also he focuses his entire attention on meditation, different stages of meditation, and ultimately he also gives up. So both lead to the renunciation of sense gratification. But here in Bhakti Yoga, there is direct connection with Lord Krishna, whereas in the Ashtanga Yoga, there is no direct connection. There is control of sense and mind only. So what will happen now? If a person is controlling performing all senses, all sense activities, or using all his senses in service of Krishna, he is rendering devotional service. And here he is controlling for self Sayuj Mukti only. He is not doing anything. And Atha Shri Krishna Namadi Na Bhavet Grahyam Indriya, our contaminated, the sense organs, our sense organs are contaminated. And we cannot, through sense organs, we cannot understand Krishna. Whatever knowledge we may gain, whatever gyan we may gain, it is very impossible, almost impossible to understand Krishna. But if we do a devotional service to Krishna, that is Sevon Mukhi Jihado, Swayam Spirit Eva Smriti Adhya. That means God himself reveals himself if we perform devotional service. So there is a degree of effort in Bhakti Yoga is much less as compared to Ashtanga Yoga. No, yes, Mataji, please read that.
Living entity has no separate independent identity. He is the marginal energy of the Supreme. And trapped by material energy, he is conditioned. In Krishna conscious, he is in his real state of life. In complete knowledge only, ceases sense gratification, renounce sense gratification. Yogis by practice restrain the senses from material attachment. But a Krishna conscious person does not engage his senses in anything which is not Krishna. Therefore, a Krishna conscious person is both a sannyasi and a yogi. Purpose of knowledge, gyan, and of restraining the senses and connecting with the Lord, yoga, are automatically served in Krishna consciousness. Real aim for a living entity to give up all selfish satisfaction and only satisfy the Supreme.
Thank you, Mataji. So the supremacy in first two verses is then from Nishkam Karma Yoga. In first two verses, Lord Krishna said about this Ashtanga Yoga. But here in the end of second verse, he says that a Krishna conscious person is both sannyasi and yogi. And it is because Ashtanga Yoga and yogi practice meditation and those following the disciplines are very difficult to follow, and the gyan cannot be attained because nobody can know Krishna fully. Nobody can know Krishna fully. We can only love Krishna, and loving Krishna can be done by doing devotional service to him. Whereas others are trying to analyze or describe Krishna, which is a futile exercise. So both yogi and that means there are three properties which are common, three characteristics which are common in sannyasi and yogi. Number one, control of sense and mind and body also. Number two, purification of heart through these activities. Number 3, there is no desire, Nishkam Karma Yogi, that is, there is no desire to have any kind, you enjoy any kind of fruits or benefits of an activity, and everything is offered to Lord Krishna if anything result of our activity comes forward. So this is already achieved a person who is in a Krishna consciousness. Yes, Mataji, this one also.
Arukshar Munar Yogam Karma Karanam Uchyate Yogaru Dhasya Tasyavya Samha Karanam Uchyate. For one who is a neophyte in the eightfold yoga system, work is said to be the means. And for one who is already elevated in yoga, cessation of all material activities is said to be the means.
So this is the difference between two. A person who is a beginner in the Ashtanga Yoga is a neophyte, means who is a beginner in the eightfold system. The work is said to be the means. He has to attain liberation by performing the prescribed duty, that is Nishkam Karma Yoga. But who has elevated into yoga, that is a yoga rudh stage. This is yoga ruksha state. This is ruksha. This is yoga Ruruksha stage, and this is Yoga Arudhya stage. Yoga Arudhya stage, Rudhasya stage means the one who has got the highest perfection in Ashtanga Yoga. He has reached the climax of the Ashtanga Yoga. For him, there is no object. He does not meditate on any kind of object. For him, there is no action also. No activity is required for him. But for a beginner who is a neophyte, for him who is a Aruruksha stage, for him activity is required. He has to meditate on some kind of object. So this is the difference between the two. And you can see here, these pictures are describing the same thing. Yes, anybody else would like to read now? Srila Mataji or Riya Mataji?
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Riya Mataji, please read this.
Okay. The process of linking a living entity with the Supreme, yoga may be compared to a ladder. This ladder takes one to the topmost spiritual realization, begins from the lowest material condition, rising up to the state of perfect self-realization. The ladder may be divided into 3 types: Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. Beginning of the ladder is the Yoga Ruksu stage, and the highest rank is the Yoga Ruddha. Following Ashtanga Yoga, situating oneself in meditation, perfect mental equilibrium to control the senses is achieved. All disturbing mental activities cease. But in Krishna consciousness, one is always meditating on Krishna, constantly engaged in the service of Krishna when all material activities are considered to have ceased. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So there is a ladder. In fact, we'll come to it in next slides. In fact, first is a karma kand, that is fruitive activities. Second is Nishkam Karma Yoga. Third, after that comes Gyan Yoga. And after Gyan Yoga, then there is Ashtanga Yoga, and then ultimately Bhakti Yoga. So these are different stages of achieving higher stage for liberation ultimately. And in the beginning, it is Yoga Ruruksha stage, and in the topmost stage of Ashtanga Yoga is Yoga Rudh stage, when all the Yoga Rudh means stopped. All activities are stopped, and there is no object of meditation. Whereas in beginning, as I mentioned, there has to be an object for meditation. And the purpose is that all kind of material activities or mental activities they cease here, or one becomes gradually established in self-realized state. But ultimate goal of all kind of these ladders is to have spiritual realization, and that is Bhakti Yoga. We come to this ladder. We can see step 0. Please have a look at the bottom. Bottom is step 0. Fruitive workers performing rituals for elevation to heavenly planets and regulated sense gratification in accordance with the scriptures. Fruitive workers means we perform activities as per the prescribed duty, but we enjoy the results of them. So we are fruity workers and we want to, these are sakam karma, that is sakam karma. This is called karmi kant. And next stage, when the results of these activities are renounced, then it is karma yoga or nishkam karma yoga. After renouncing the result, there is speculative knowledge about Brahman and austerity is performed, that is tapas and sacrifice is performed, and one has speculative knowledge. One really does not speculative knowledge because one is trying to understand through reasoning, trying to understand Krishna or realize Krishna through reasoning or philosophical speculations or, dry arguments. Then it is only Gyan Yoga. And Gyan Yoga, Lord Krishna has said, Devi Isha Gurmai Mam Maya Duratya. My the internal energy of mind is very difficult to understand. So how can one understand when Lord has himself denounced that you cannot understand me? The Gyan Yogi cannot understand Krishna at all. The third stage is renouncing foods and knowledge plus control of mind and senses by Eightfold Path and meditation on Paramatma or Super Soul within the heart. So this is Ashtanga Yoga. Now Ashtanga Yogi at the most reaches at the level of Paramatma feature. And we know three features of God realization. First stage is that of Brahman effulgence, merging into it, that is Sahaja Mukti. Second stage is understanding the super soul or the Paramatma feature. And third stage, the highest realization of God is feature is Bhagwan stage, Bhagwan realization. So even after Ashtanga Yogi, one is only able to realize imperfect knowledge, acquire an imperfect knowledge in the form of realization of super soul only. But a Bhakti Yogi, he is doing loving devotional service to Supreme Lord. That is Bhagwan feature of Lord Krishna. And that is, so Bhakti Yoga is the highest. As we now just now discussed, why Bhakti Yoga is the topmost? Because it can be attained in one single life. It is a shortcut. It is a direct connection with Lord Krishna, and it is the highest perfection of life. That is why Bhakti Yoga is at the top of the ladder. So these are gradual stages. Now there is option from step 0 to 3. One can go gradually, or from step 0 directly to step 4. As we gave an example earlier, we discussed if we want to reach 10th floor of a building, what shall we use? Steps, ladder, or a ramp, or a fast elevator. So it is the approach to Bhakti Yoga is through the elevator, fastest, which is the fastest route. And then, as Mataji and everybody said, that life is very short. So this is the only route to reach Lord Krishna. Yes, any question, Mataji, Risha Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Prabhuji, the want of liberation, does that come in the material, material want? Because like for example, if one is if one is worshipping Lord Krishna and is in Bhakti Yoga, but one is needing or desiring for the liberation, and rather than just the maybe he or she is parallelly asking for the togetherness with the God too, but is asking for the liberation, then will you count it in the
Yes,
material?
Mataji. All kind of desire. Desire is a material thing. Desire is the cause of our bondage. Desire is the cause of our repeated birth and death. So desire of any kind is binding. So it becomes material. It is not spiritual. Only spiritual or transcendental desire is to serve Krishna eternally in whatever form. Just now we heard this Lord Chaitanya's verse that he doesn't want anything. He just wants eternal service of Lord. Nor do I want any number of followers. What I want only is the causeless mercy of a devotional service in my life, birth after birth. If we have any desire, you may consider this is also a desire, but this is a transcendental desire. It is a spiritual desire. It is not material. So any desire is Mataji, material. It desire to merge into, desire to have same features, desire to have close to the Lord, desire to have same residence in the same loka, desire to have same opulences. All these are desires which are not transcendental, right?
Desire to have the merciless, desire to have the countless mercy. Again, matlab, countless mercy. The same line which you were showing, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So
Yes, ma'am.
that is again a desire.
No,
I
it's
need.
not. It is that the difference is between, what happens after, all kind of mukti, person does not, remain there, or his, again, if he rises to higher planets, he has to come back to the earth. Even the person who has got Sahaj Mukti, he has to return back to the cycle of birth and death. But a person who is eternally serving Lord, he assumes all the features of Goloka Vrindavana as the Krishna has, and he wants to render loving devotional service. He does not want to sit there or do any kind of. In fact, Vilma Mangal Thakur said that he said that the 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 Mukti, Mukti Ma, or lady, the Mukti is standing at my door and begging for me to get liberation. But I do not want any liberation. I want eternal service of Lord only. So it is a want. It may sound as a desire, but it is not really desire. It is a wish. It is a prayer, causeless mercy, because I cannot get it on my own effort unless you, out of your causeless mercy, grant me this kind of service. Okay, Mataji. So these are the ladders. So Bhakti Yoga is the topmost yoga, and it is a shortcut. It can be achieved in one life. It is the highest perfection of life, because one feature of Krishna, Lord, is realized in this phase. So that is the highest form of life. Yeah. Anyone else would like to read? Yes, Richa Jain Mataji.
यदा हि नेन्द्रियार्थेषु न कर्म स्वप्नेषु स्वनुषजते सर्व संकल्प संन्यासी योगारूढ़ास तदोच्यते. A person is said to be elevated in yoga when, having renounced all material desires, he neither acts for sense gratification nor engages in fruitive activities.
Right. So this was section 1, and this is section 2. Now we come to Yoga Rudhi stage, giving up work. Giving up Yoga Rudhi stage is the topmost stage in Ashtanga Yoga. When person has got complete, almost has stopped almost complete material existence. He does not consider himself as body. He does not consider his own senses. There is no sense gratification. There is no sense object. And he is in a trance state, or rather in the highest stage, where he is considered himself one with the Supreme Personality of Godhead in whatever form he is. So yogi may give up Nishkam Karma Yoga when his mental control reaches a stage of regarding well-wishers, envious, pious, and the sinners equally. So this is the topmost stage of Ashtanga Yoga, Yoga Rudhya stage, where everybody, he is equiposed, and for him, everyone is just same, and his perfect control of mind, senses, as well as his body needs. Yoga Rudhya stage, giving up work. In this highest stage, the person gives up entire work, and because he has no material existences that time. Yoga Rurukshu stage, neophyte, a person who is a beginner in Ashtanga Yoga, he must work because he is not detached, pure advanced. He is cultivating detachment from fruitive results and practices part-time asana and perhaps pranayama while engaging in Karma Yoga. So you can see this baby growing gradually. So this is Yoga Rurukshu stage, when he is learning the basic disciplines of Ashtanga Yoga, and so this is called as a Yoga Rurukshu here. Now, Yoga to this stage is most advanced of the topmost stage. This baby has grown up to maturity now. He does not act for sense gratification, does not engage in fruitive activities, has renounced all material desires, permitted to quit prescribed duties. He does not perform even prescribed duties because he is above those prescribed duties, And whatever he does is Nishkam, even Nishkam Karma Yoga can also be given up by such a person. And he is a yogi, full-time yogi, and he has complete knowledge. But his knowledge is not perfect. His knowledge is limited to imperfect stage of God realization. That is the Paramatma realization at the most. Not, he doesn't have any kind of the final stage of Bhagwan form of realization. So this is so we can see that imperfection of Ashtanga Yoga is there. Right? Yes, anybody would like to read this? Yeah, Richard and you, Mataji, you can continue.
Yes, Prabhuji. One must deliver himself with the help of his mind and not degrade himself. The mind is the friend of the conditioned soul and his enemy as well. Bhagavad Gita 6.5.
So what does it mean? Mind is a friend as well as enemy? When is a mind, how one person who is a friend as well as could become an enemy also? So what is the stage?
Mind, if not control, is the biggest enemy, and if mind is control, then it is his friend.
Yeah, very nice. So
Prabhu,
mind is
the mind engaged in the transcendental states, then the mind is the friend. If it is in the if it is then it is the enemy.
yeah. Now let us take an example now. We are sleeping now, right? And 4 o'clock or 3:30 we have to get up for attending Mangala Aarti at the temple. The mind doesn't want to cooperate. It says that let us sleep for 10 minutes more, and the 10 minutes mean that 4:30 or Mangala Aarti time is over. So one has to trick the mind or control the mind. No, I have to get up, I have to perform this duty, and this is my duty at this moment. So controlling the mind is then it is called a friend. Otherwise, it is a worst enemy, because mind always acts, is attracted by the sense objects and the sensory dictations. So similarly for chanting also, if it is a common experience, if we are doing chanting in the early hours of Brahma Muhurti time, then probably our focus or attention on the form of Lord, on hearing the Lord's name is much more concentrated and focused as compared to doing chanting at the evening time or afternoon time. We know this thing. So it is a friend as well as an enemy. So what conditions are, that depends on the timings and how can we control our mind. So this is important here, that mind has to be controlled. One must deliver himself with the help of his mind and not degrade himself. The mind is the friend of the conditioned soul and his enemy as well. Our soul is contaminated. It is contaminated with three modes of material nature. And there are a lot of swabhav and lot of attractions which are taking away our mind towards them. So if one has full control over mind, it becomes a friend, as well as if there is no control, then the person becomes mind becomes enemy. So the other batch has joined now. So we will stop here. I'll post the attendance link. Please fill the attendance before you leave. We shall discuss if there is any question or any doubts. We should discuss in the next.
Prabhuji, attendance link.
Yeah, I just now posted, Mataji. Just you can see it.
Yes, Prabhu.
Please fill in the attendance. So before you leave, please fill that in. We'll continue from this point tomorrow, again, same time. Thank you for being there, and also your association. Dandavat Pranam to all devotees. Hare Krishna. Panchakalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhuva eva cha patitanam pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Shri Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All devotees, Hare Krishna and Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, devotees. We'll end the class now.